Hi there and welcome to the Cranky Old Man's blog. Well, here it is, Sydney, Australia. It's a Friday afternoon. It's wet, miserable, and the rain continues here. Probably not as bad as it's some other parts of the world at the moment, but enough to be annoying. Now, the subject of today's blog, it's something I've been thinking about for a couple of weeks now. I've been wrestling with this one. It's probably more based on the experiences I've had with my current work situation and also generally what I see in the world at the moment. And the question I ask is, what's happened to the real men? Where are they? I mean, where is the real men? I'm not talking about these guys that get out there and king hit guys out, with a gut full of grog on this type of stuff. But I mean, the real basic down to earth type of stuff. And I've just remembered an email that a friend of mine sent to me November last year. And I went sifting through it and I found this email and I thought I'd base today's blog a bit on it by taking some of the points out of there and working on those and going through the blog that way. So now the email was entitled 20 Characteristics of the Ultimate Man. And before the list of them actually was shown up in the email, he put it to there. He said, "Are you a man or a mouse?" And I thought that was enough to definitely pique my interest. So some of the things that I'd like to touch on. First of all, earlier this year I did a blog on accountability, and that's something I think that for a lot of guys out there these days, they don't really see themselves being accountable for anything. And to me, a real man does that. He's accountable for what he does and what his actions and what he says to people and this type of thing. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're the person who's whatever action you may have undertaken, you're the guy that's actually done it. So, going through this list, I've got it sitting with me here, and I'll just go through one point at a time with you. And the first one I got here was a man treats women with respect. And if you don't respect women, you're not a man. And that's not a bad point, actually. I mean, going back to many years ago, I mean, that was very much the case. I mean, I don't see that really changing these days. Also, the second point that is listed there was a man understands that greater happiness lies in helping others, not helping himself. And I think that's a great quality of any individual to be able to help people, not be that total selfishness. And I think it's a great thing. Next point it comes along. It says a man doesn't stand still while the world passes him by. He continually pushes himself, and I think that's one of the many traits that, and a real key trait, that one too. There's successful people in the world, and they do that type of thing. And I like to think that real men really do that type of activity. That is, really push themselves. Now, a man is a leader in at least one aspect of his life, and this is true too. When you think about it, whether this means his family, with his friends, or just in general, he can also follow. Now, the world wouldn't work if everyone was trying to lead in every aspect of life. That's very true. There's a lot of people I've come across in my life in their work situation. They may not be the leader there. They're one of the followers, but outside they're in the community. Sometimes these guys are the coach of the child's whether it be football team or whatever. Some sort of sporting thing, or they may be the president of the local sporting body, or some sort of community activity. It's very much out there, and it's something I believe in greatly. Now, also, a man doesn't need to be able to fight to protect his family, and his family. This is fighting physically, but it does help, and it's true too. He does, however, need to be willing to do whatever it takes to keep his family safe and happy, and I think that's a great trait of any man. That's what I said earlier on. It's not about going out there, poking your chest out there, wanting to have a fight everyone out there to be a man. That's rubbish. That's the stuff of boys, not real men. And also, we've got something here. A man lives for something. He has a purpose beyond his own personal gains. This can come with time and with family. It doesn't always happen right away. And from personal experience, I find that is correct. Over time, you do. You find your way. You get a little bit lost early in life, and some of us get there a bit earlier than others. But there's a lot of us out there who take a bit of time, but we get there eventually. Just got to be patient. And another point we have here is many of the greatest accomplishments. So I'll rephrase it. Many of the greatest accomplishments of the world were accomplished by tired and discouraged men who kept on working. That's that old point of don't ever give up. It's just something that keeps going through my head at times, through tough times, and I always say to myself, a rather old saying, that tough times don't last, but tough people do. That definitely helps me, and sometimes I need it. Also, when a man points a finger at someone else, he should remember that four of his fingers are pointing at himself. And it's very true too. Man has faults. It's important to understand this because we've all got faults. No one is faultless. Remember that, no one. And also, a man can laugh at himself, a bit of self-deprecation. There's nothing wrong with it. You've got to have that deprecating humour. It doesn't mean you've got to put yourself down all the time, but it doesn't hurt to have a bit of a laugh at yourself. Good God, I do a lot myself. Now, a man takes pride in how he looks and lives his life. He's not ashamed by who he is, what he does, or how he looks. Even if he's trying to change one of the aforementioned. There's nothing wrong with looking after yourself. Physically, mentally, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Men learn what is truly important over time. And this is one I really like. If they're lucky, they'll have a sense of it earlier on. And I tend to agree with that one too. It's as I said earlier on there. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to find your purpose in life. A lot of zigzagging. Good God, I've done a lot of it myself through my life, but I like to think now I'm sort of on the track where I need to be. Albeit I'm in the latter part of my life. But also, a man has fears, but he isn't ruled by them. It's all right to acknowledge what your fears are. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a human trait, but don't let them overtake you. And real men don't do that. A man learns from his mistakes, although he might take a few cracks at it. It's very true too. We all make mistakes. I keep saying that. No one's perfect. Man does what is necessary, even if it's the hardest decision or the most unpopular one. We've all had to make decisions in our lives. Sometimes it affects family too. Sometimes we have to walk away from people, who are basically relatives and they weren't good for you. Sometimes you've got to walk away from things like that to better yourself. It does happen. One I really like: a man can appreciate the greatness that is the gladiator. Now, that's one that could be interpreted a lot of ways. To me, that particular point is all about recognising that there's something within us all that's very, very deep, and that it's something that it was addressed earlier on, and so just having that strength of character. And I think that's more than anything else. It's not about getting out there and again poking your chest out and taking swings at people. It's all have that inner strength. That's what real men do have. A man thrives on competition. I think it pretty much speaks for itself. I like that one. Now, the final point here says that for a man to achieve all that is expected of him, he must regard himself greater than he is. It's a quote from a guy called Johann Wolfgang. And I think that's you need to really look at an individual look at themselves and go, well, if I want to be that person, I need to have the time, have that, that frame of mind where I look at it and go, that's who I am. That's what I want to be. That's what it's all about. You've got to do that type of stuff. If you want to be greater than what you already are, you've got to think that way. Anyway, guys, that's a couple of thoughts I had on it. Different people's interpretation of what a real man is wide and varied. Don't get me wrong on this. This is not the be-all and end-all of interpretations. Trust me on that. So I'm sure that a lot of people got different ideas on this one and probably maybe agree or disagree with what I'm saying. And trust me, as always, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, guys, hopefully the next vlog won't be as long, but as always, wherever you are in the world, take care and bye for now.